Chidimma Adetshina only. I don't really know what you are fighting for in South Africa. I'm seriously scared for your life. Like, babe, I wish you could leave South Africa before something terrible happens to you. Our Igbo people say that which means that life is more valuable than material things. You can really leave South Africa for good and flourish anywhere in the world. Why must you go back to your vomit? Eh? You went back to those who hate and disdain you? Girl, you dey fall hands true. No, not be lie. You dey really behave like only mujuru for unless you have something you are not telling us. Seriously, you are just unnecessarily stubborn. And even if you win the case in South Africa, you are now worth nothing because doesn't make sense anymore. There's no grace in all of this. A sensible person should know how to use the door and exit in the face of disrespect and utter disdain. My darlings, let us be honest about this matter. This issue is not really about whether she built a life in South Africa or not. Nobody is saying she did not build a life there. The real question is, when a place becomes hostile to you and makes you feel unwanted, unsafe, or unwelcome, at what point do you decide that it is time to leave? She had an opportunity to start again in Nigeria. When South Africa disqualified her from the contest, Nigeria welcomed her, gave her a platform, and allowed her to represent the country. She went ahead and emerged as the first runner-up. That was not a small opportunity. Nigeria opened its door to her at a time when another country had rejected her from the competition. So one cannot help but ask, why didn't she consider using the opportunity to build a brand for herself in Nigeria? And honestly, would moving to Nigeria really have been the worst thing in the world? There are people who were forced out of South Africa in very painful circumstances. Some people were chased away, attacked, or made to feel so unwelcomed that they had no choice but to leave. They did not sit down and say, I have built my life around here, so I must remain here at all costs. They simply packed what they could and returned to Nigeria. They didn't choose the time. They didn't choose the circumstances. They didn't even have the luxury of making a comfortable plan. They left because they believed their safety and peace were more important. So if other people who had also built lives in South Africa eventually left, why should we believe that leaving automatically means failure? I understand that she had built a life there. I understand that she may have spent many years there. I understand that South Africa may be the only home she has really known. I also understand that she may have friends, businesses, relationships, memories, properties, and other things that make living extremely difficult. Nobody is saying those things don't matter. They matter. But there is another question we must ask. What happens when the place you call home no longer gives you peace? At some point, you have to think about your safety. You have to think about your future. You have to think about your mental and emotional peace. You have to think about whether the environment around you still gives you a sense of belonging. Home is important, but so is safety. If people are constantly telling you that they don't want you around and the hostility becomes serious enough to make you fear for your security or even your life, then perhaps it is time to consider another option. Sometimes living is not weakness. Sometimes living is wisdom. Sometimes walking away is not admitting defeat. Sometimes it is simply choosing to live another day. My question is simple. What exactly is she fighting for? Is she trying to prove that she has the right to remain there? Is she trying to prove that the people who don't want her there are wrong? Is she trying to prove that she has invested too much to leave? But even if she eventually wins the argument, what happens afterwards? Will she suddenly start living in a completely different South Africa where the people she's fighting against no longer exist? No, she will still have to live around people. And if someone becomes angry or desperate enough to harm her, what happens then? Who loses? At the end of the day, it is the person whose life is in danger who suffers the most. This is why I believe some battles are simply not worth fighting for. Choose your battles wisely. You don't have to prove your strength by staying in a place that is making your life miserable. Who you be? You don't have to remain somewhere just because you have already spent many years there. You are not a tree. You can move. You can start again. You can build another life. You can take your experience, your skills, your name, your connections, and everything you have learned and begin somewhere else. And let's also remember something. Whatever she has built in South Africa, other people have built even more and still had to leave. People have left businesses. People have left houses. People have left cars, careers, relationships. People have left an entire community where they spent decades. Some left with nothing but the clothes on their backs. So leaving does not mean that everything you built was useless. It simply means you have decided that your life is more important than the things you are leaving behind. And perhaps that is the kind of decision she needs to seriously consider. If Nigeria is willing to welcome her, why not explore that option? Use the fame, the experience, and opportunities she already has to build something meaningful here. It's not entirely that difficult. Nigeria has its own problem, yes, we know. Nobody is pretending that Nigeria is perfect. But if the choice is between staying somewhere you constantly feel unwanted and moving somewhere that is willing to receive you, then at least consider the second option. Sometimes peace is more valuable than pride. Safety is more important than property. A fresh beginning is better than continuously fighting an old battle. And as for prayer, yes, prayer is important, okay? But what she needs now is to pray for more clarity and direction. Yes, let her pray to know when to stay, know when to fight, and prayer to know when it is time to walk away. Because there are some battles where the greatest victory is not defeating your opponent. The greatest victory is getting yourself out safely. At the end of the day, life comes first, okay? No house, business, career, property, or investment is worth losing your life over. If a place no longer gives you peace, you have every right to consider another place. You are not a tree. You can move. And sometimes moving is not running away. Sometimes moving is choosing yourself. Choose yourself. Don't forget, if your children do not know how to speak Igbo or solve mathematics properly, bring them into my academy. If you want Japa or you find solution concerning Japa things, come, I did for you. If you want to learn how to create content and edit videos, I am also here for you. If you also want to learn AI content, come, I did for you. We have lands available for sale across Igbo regions. Send me a DM.